Later today, teachers will sit down with the government bargaining committee. They are looking for a new collective agreement after taking job action over the past weeks. The man to bring them back to the table is Education Minister Jeremy Cockrill. He says negotiators can make a new salary offer, but the minister has said the province's new negotiation mandate will not include complexity as part of a final agreement. The Teachers Federation says that won't work for them, so Jeremy Cockrill joins us now to talk more about this. Good morning, Minister, and thanks for your time this morning.
Good to be here, Theresa. Thanks for having me.
First of all, why did the province offer the renewed mandate now?
Well, I think we all understand that job action resulting from bargaining breaking down in the fall, and the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation walking away from the table at that time. Job action has an impact on our children in this province, right? School days interrupted, the possibility of extracurriculars interrupted, and certainly what we had put on the table last summer when bargaining started was an initial offer from government, but we saw an opportunity here. To really bring forward a renewed mandate, particularly on the salary side, and show goodwill towards the Teachers Federation leadership and their members, and our desire to get a deal done here.
So the Teachers Federation says classroom size and complexity is very important for them. So why isn't that on the bargaining table?
Well, we've been clear throughout the process that really discussions around classroom size and composition really belong between government and locally elected school boards. We have 27 locally elected school boards across the province, and they understand their local communities really better than ourselves or the union leadership. And so, we want to make sure that those locally elected school divisions have the ability to staff their school communities and to figure out what the classroom looks like in their school divisions all around the province. And so to take that job from the school divisions and give it over to union leadership is not something that we're prepared to do.
But last week, a former Saskatoon school board chair told us that there isn't actually sufficient funding to deal with those local issues on a local level, such as class complexity. What's your response to that?
Well, I mean, those are discussions that I've had with school boards all around the province. I've now met with almost every school board in the province in my time as education minister, and certainly having discussions around how we ensure that school divisions are properly resourced, to deal with the challenges that we're seeing in the classroom today. So, those discussions are ongoing. We look forward to the upcoming provincial budget here in March. And really what you'll see in that budget is largely a result of the discussions that I've been able to have with school divisions all around the province.
But why not put commitment of long-term sufficient funding beyond the next budget cycle into the contract right now to address classroom size and complexity?
Well, really, I mean, budgeting, for all ministries, including education, is done on a year-to-year basis. I mean, we have shown that there has been consistent funding over the last several number of years. But we also have seen significant growth in our province and in our schools over the last several years. We understand that has created some challenges for school divisions and for families and parents, and so certainly that's what we're looking to address in the upcoming budget. We already in this province invest more than $2 billion annually, every single year, into K-12 education. That's the most per capita, across the country. So your family, my family, the families of the listeners here today, our province, we spend more on K-12 education proportionally than anywhere else in Canada. Of course, we know that more investment is going to be needed, and we look forward to bringing that forward in March.
But students, their families, teachers, they say they're still struggling with full classrooms and not enough support right now. What's your response to that?
Well, I mean, we've made several moves over the last number of weeks, in regards to classroom size and composition. We recently approved another set of relocatable classrooms to be added to school divisions that are seeing significant growth all around the province. Those school divisions have been notified and are now working on getting those relocatable classrooms in place for next September. But on the complexity piece, we've also announced recently several pilot projects that really, one is teacher-led. We look forward to announcing those first projects in that pilot here later today. And Really looking for innovative ideas on how we can address issues around complexity in the classroom. Our other pilot, the specialized support classroom pilot, that's going to be rolling out here in 8 school divisions all across the province in the coming weeks here. And really what that does is it creates a context, a venue for students in elementary schools who need additional supports to receive those additional supports. And then for students and teachers in the home classroom to ensure that they can spend more of their time on instruction and ensuring that the learning experience is best for all kids in that school.
So once again, going back to you saying that class complexity, class size should not be part of the bargaining. The province has made decisions on things like pandemic measures, sexual health education, pronoun policy that impact all classrooms across the province. So if you're able to mandate those, how do you decide which issues deserve a provincial mandate and which do not?
Yeah, and that's a good question, Theresa. And there's we have in Saskatchewan a bi-level system of governance around education. We have obviously the Ministry of Education, which I represent, but then we also have the 27 locally elected school boards. And so there's always finding that balance between local issues and provincial issues. Certainly, there's issues that provincially we want to make sure we have a measure of consistency on. And certainly, when it came to sexual health education and parental involvement, we believe that it was important to have a consistent provincial approach. Now, when it comes to how classrooms look and how classrooms are structured, we do believe that that's largely a local conversation. There does need to be some consistency province-wide, and that's exactly when I talk about the conversations that we're having with school divisions around ensuring that there's proper resources in place. But at the end of the day, school divisions know their individual school communities the best, and we
But
want
that's
them
the
to be able
same.
to have.
That is the same for other things like sexual education or pandemic measures that you had. Wouldn't that also be a reason to say local school divisions know what's best for their students?
Yeah, the pandemic measures, that was a challenging time for all of us, right? And certainly for young kids that were in school. I think there was, if we look back now, there was probably good reason to have, a consistent provincial message around pandemic measures across the province. I mean, that was a confusing time, but at the same time, when we look at what a classroom looks like, and I've been able to tour classrooms all around the province, from Creighton to the Battlefords I was in La Loche on Friday. These communities look very different, and what the needs of the individual schools are can be very different as well. And so we want to make sure that school divisions have some autonomy there to determine what that looks like.
Last week, you told reporters, or you said that a class with 40 children, if there isn't a lot of complexity, can be easier to manage. So if you think 40 might be okay, what's the upper limit for you?
Well, again, we want to make sure that what I was referring to in that comment is that different classrooms look different. And when I've had the opportunity to speak with teachers, certainly classrooms that don't have a lot of challenging or complex situations in them are easier to manage. I've heard that from teachers directly, whereas classrooms maybe a smaller number but have more additional children that need additional supports. That can be quite challenging for a teacher and the educators in that school to manage. So certainly we want to make sure that we find that right balance, working with school divisions to ensure that class sizes can be appropriate and that
So would
students that
40 children be an appropriate class size then there?
well, again, it depends on the school community. It would depend on, the composition of the students in that. And I would say it also would depend on the staffing in that individual school. I don't know that specific class that's being mentioned, but, certainly, that these are the conversations that I'm having with school divisions on a weekly basis around the province.
How many students is too many then? If there aren't even if there aren't a lot of complexity issues or concerns in a classroom, how many students would be too many?
Well, I think that's hard to say because I think that may look different in different communities around the province. That's exactly the point of this discussion is that, the reality is that different schools and different communities, they work very differently. And so, we want to make sure again that school divisions have that ability to make those decisions on how they staff and how they manage prep time, for example, for teachers and educators in the school. So again, this sort of question, this sort of conversation is exactly why it's important for local school divisions with the resources they have and with additional investment that we're looking forward to putting in March have the ability to make those decisions.
If teachers leave negotiations and do a full scale walkout, what will your response be?
I think that would be a very disappointing move by the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation leadership. I think what you have seen from our side is over the last several weeks is really an earnest attempt here to do what's best for the province of Saskatchewan. Whether you're a teacher, we offered a renewed mandate here addressing salary and several other smaller requests that the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation brought forward to the table. You're seeing us make moves on classroom complexity with pilot projects, as well as working with school divisions to understand what further investment may look like. So again, from the government side, we really want to do what's best for our kids and our students in this province. And we want to make sure that we get a fair deal done with teachers so that really we can provide the long-term sustainability and predictability for the education sector. So I really hope that the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation leadership is coming to the table today and tomorrow, with the intention of getting a deal done. That's certainly where we're at. And, I think that's what families in this province want. And so hopefully we can get closer to that today and tomorrow.
At what point would you legislate teachers back to work?
That's not anything that we've considered at this point. I mean, I've been clear whether it's questions about back to work legislation or binding arbitration, that is not something that the government is looking at. We want to get a deal done at the table. Again, we've brought forward a renewed mandate with the effort, with the intention of getting teachers union leadership back to the table and trying to get a deal done. The best deals are done at the table. We want to find a fair and reasonable deal, and we think that's going to happen at the table.
Thank you very much, Minister. I really appreciate your time this morning.
Thanks, Theresa. Appreciate it.